How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to be talking about the positives and negatives of owning a Red. So I'd say the number one positive to owning a Red is it legitimizes you with your clients. The first time I got my Red, I started with the Red Dragon. And pretty much the moment I got that, I started getting a lot more inquiries from my clients saying like, oh, hey, do you do music videos? Do you shoot short films? And then I, eventually got into a feature, mostly because I owned a Red. They were looking for an owner-operator Red. So I'd have to say, definitely owning a Red will kind of catch your eye in some of your clients. So the number two positive for owning a Red is obviously the image quality, especially if you're starting on a DSLR or shooting like on a GoPro, things like that. Even if you're doing like a Blackmagic, it just has a higher bit rate. Depending on which sensor you get, the resolution can be up to 8K. I personally have the Helium, and I love the image that I get from my sensor. It's currently Netflix's #1 camera shooting their top shows. So yeah, I'm very happy with my Red. The number three positive to owning a Red is the modularity. It's really easy to travel with. I've been able to go around the world with my Red in a very small package, basically just with a handle, like my Sigma 18-35 lens and a battery. I'm able to just kind of run around anywhere. I've been in Africa with it. I've taken it to Italy with me. The great thing about the modularity and like the compact size is you can build it to like as big or as small as you want. And it's really easy to operate as a single operator if you're just kind of running and gunning. And that kind of, that really brings a lot of value to the camera, because I know there's lots of other cameras that do require 2 to 3 people to operate, successfully. And it's not as easy to just run and gun with. Even an Alexa Mini is not so easy to run and gun with because, all the parts are kind of like separate, not as modular. And I definitely have to say that's a huge pro for the Red. The number 4 pro to owning a Red is obviously the resolution. The resolution, having Red was essentially the first to kind of kick off the 4K revolution. After that, we've kind of steadily climbed. They went to the 5K with the Mysterium sensor, and then they went to 6K with the Dragon sensor, and then now they're in 8K with the Monstro and the Helium sensor. So what that resolution buys you is if you're shooting 8K, it gives you the ability to pull stills from your footage, so you can essentially be filming and doing photography at the same time, and something like that can be extremely valuable to your client. With the resolution, it's really easy to do special effects with so much resolution. Yes, it kind of does bog down your computer if you're like in After Effects with an 8K file, but at the same time, when you do motion tracking or camera tracking, you have so many more points because it just has all that data to really connect to those active points. Another thing I'd have to say about the resolution is you can punch in post. You can really do slow digital pushes or crop in and get multiple shots from one shot. I've done a couple interviews where I literally do a medium wide shot, and then I'm able to kind of pull a medium shot and a close-up just from one angle. And that's pretty incredible to be able to do that with one camera. I'd say the resolution is great because even with other cameras that shoot 4K or 2K, when you do try to stabilize the footage, it punches in so much that you'll most likely get pixelation. But when you're shooting 8K, 6K, or even 5K, and you punch in and for stabilization, it really doesn't affect the image that much. So that's really another pro. Number 5 would have to be just owning a cinema camera that's one of the 2 main cameras in the industry right now. On the left here you have the Alexa, which has like the Alexa Mini, the Alexa LF, the Alexa Classic, and then on the other side you have the Red family. That's like the Gemini, the Helium, the Monstro, the Raven, the Dragon 6K. They have so many Red cameras right now. Netflix is really mostly Red based cameras, and I honestly think that's why the Alexa had to make the LF Mini, because there's a huge market that they're not being able to reach because of their 2K capability. So yeah, I'd have to say that's a huge pro, owning a camera that's like one of the main ones being used right now. It's used a lot in music videos, some documentaries and commercials. I've shot commercials for Dodge. I've shot commercials for Time Magazine. I've done I've done music videos with Snoop, Kevin Gates, Carson Looters, French Montana, and all these music videos shot on the Red. They were all very happy with the image. Yeah, I'd have to say those were the 5 pros to owning a Red. So now let's get into some of the not so great things about owning a Red. Let's say number 1 negative to owning a Red is obviously how expensive it is. You know, there's a lot of other cameras coming out right now that are very affordable that, you know, if it's going up on YouTube, some clients really can't tell what camera you shot on. I mean, I did a music video for Bush that was shot half on the Blackmagic 6K and half on my Red Helium. And you know, when you see the shots cut together, most of the time you really can't tell what was shot on Red, what was shot on Blackmagic. And the Blackmagic Pocket is going for around like $2,500 to $3,000. Obviously, you know, you need batteries and lenses and all that stuff, but yeah, when you're comparing like a $3,000, $4,000 camera to like a $30,000 to $50,000 camera, and if it's on YouTube where it's like highly compressed and you can't always tell the difference, you know, yeah, it kind of sucks knowing you spent that much money and it looks very similar to something worth like a tenth of the price. So yeah, I'd have to say a huge negative is the price. You know, every single accessory is gonna be like over $1,000. You know, even just a little handle on the Red is almost $1,000. It's like, you know, $950. You know, the monitor is like $2,000 to $3,000. The media used to be a lot more, but it was like, you know, $2,400 for like a 512. I think it went down to like $1,500 or something like that. But every little thing I buy for my Red, it's like, you know, it's like an arm and a leg. And so yeah, it's expensive. Number 2, negative, I'd have to say, is also amongst the positives. So the resolution was a positive and also a negative, because with 8K, 6K, all that, you have an insane amount of data that you're having to process. You really, I mean, if I showed you guys behind my computer, there's literally like, I don't know, I think I have like 12 hard drives, all of them like 8 terabytes, all of them full. I'm constantly after, like, I don't know, after 4 or 5 shoots, I have like an 8 terabyte drive that's full. So yeah, definitely a negative is how much storage space it's gonna be. You know, you're really running through hard drives. That's very costly. Sometimes you're having to send footage over the internet, which can take a very long time if you're using like WeTransfer or I forget what it's called. Yeah, if you're using sites like WeTransfer, Mailbig all those things, it's gonna take days to send all the files, especially if you're sending raw files, raw R3D files. Number 2 is definitely the storage space is a huge negative for the Red. So negative number 3, I'd have to say the fan noise. It's not always bad, but there is times where you're shooting on location, it's really hot or humid, and you're in a little room or something like that, and the camera begins to overheat. And when that fan kicks in, it can really ruin a scene. I mean, I was shooting a movie in Georgia. It was extremely humid. We're doing like a period piece. We're inside this little log cabin thing, and we're shooting a very emotional scene where this girl's about to give birth. And in the middle of the scene, the fan kicks on, and it's just funny because the sound guy looks over right away, and you're just like, you really can't do anything about it, because if the fan isn't working properly, your sensor temperature can go up, and that can affect the quality of the image, and also the color temperature of the image. So it's, as much as the fan is needed, it can also hinder your production if it's too hot. So yeah, I'd have to say number 3 negative is the fan noise. So negative number 4 is the errors, is the software updates can lead to a lot of errors. Honestly, for me, when I find a software update where I don't have any issues, I'm not having audio buffer issues, I'm not having random shutdown or overheating issues, I like to stay with that update. Even if like new ones come out with all these extra features, I'm like, I'm just gonna stick with this because I know it works, I know it's not gonna screw up. And anytime I update my Red, I check all the forums to make sure they're not having any issues, because I mean, the last thing you want to do is update your camera before a shoot and all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore, or you're having audio buffer issues and the client's like breathing down your neck, like what the hell, you know? So top 5 negative to owning a Red would have to just be the fact that it's a Red. You know, you'll have your clients that they just want to shoot Alexa, you know, they just want the Mini, they don't want anything to do with Red. They've had a bad experience once. Red kind of has a bad rap. So yeah, you know, sometimes you'll run into the clients that don't know anything about Red. All they know is they don't like it because they heard a horror story, or maybe one time they worked on it and overheated, or they shot with the Red 1 a long time ago and had nothing but problems. and really didn't want to give it another chance. So yeah, I mean, that can be a huge problem. If you buy a Red, you notice that a lot of people are shooting Alexa. You know, that's kind of an issue that I've ran into. I've had clients that request or demand the Alexa, or they don't want to work with me. And then I have clients that love the fact that I have a Red, and that's why they want to work with me. They see my Red, they see my reel, and they know that I'm capable to shoot their project, and they're more than happy to have me with my Helium out there. So in a perfect world, I'd have an Alexa Mini LF and a Red, and then I'd be able to tap into both markets, but that's like looking around $200,000. So for me, I went with Red because it's a little cheaper than Alexa. Bought my brain for $30,000, and then with everything else, it came out to $45. My final thoughts on owning a Red. I do love my camera. I love to shoot with it. I've shot over 8 feature films, done dozens and dozens of music videos and commercials, and I've been able to fly around the world. And honestly, a lot of it was because I was an owner-operator of the Red. A lot of my clients reach out, and I think nowadays a lot of clients expect you to be an owner-operator. Clients don't want to call you and find out that you don't have any gear and that you're gonna have to rent everything out. They kind of want to go to you knowing that you know your gear is like working and operating properly, and they're not gonna have any issues on the shoot. That's kind of a huge thing that clients are looking for now. They want owner operators, and they don't want to have to source anything out or rent from a third party. So yeah, I mean, honestly, for me, I wouldn't have changed anything. You know, I started off with a Red Dragon. I didn't really love the Dragon sensor because it was very noisy, but I feel like most of what I didn't like about the Dragon sensor was fixed with the Helium sensor. So I'm very happy with my camera now. I'm considering going to a Gemini just because of the low light performance, but beyond that, you know, I've done over 8 features with the camera, and the footage looks amazing. I just shot a feature in Georgia that was like, you know, half anamorphic period piece and then half modern day with new cinema glass. So it looks beautiful, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's called the Cricket's Dance. But yeah, but my thoughts are, you know, I love taking it with me to travel. You know, I love the ability, I'm shooting on it right now. You know, I love that I'm able to just take it out of the box, shoot it, you know, shoot with it anytime. And yeah, for me, I would recommend it. You know, I definitely recommend a different sensor depending on what budget you're working with, what kind of projects you're working on. You know, I definitely probably wouldn't, if you're just getting your start, you know, I'd probably try to find like a used Raven or a Scarlett W, or even like the Dragon 6K DSMC2 body. I probably wouldn't jump right away to Helium or Monstro. You know, Gemini is always a safe choice too, because it's kind of like the best of both worlds. Got 5K resolution and low light mode and all that. But yeah, I think Red kind of has a camera for every budget. They're working on the new Komodo right now, and that looks like a, you know, a low-end camera that people can kind of jump into, but we don't know the specs quite yet. But I would recommend the Red, definitely. I think that in 2020, it's still keeping me busy. Another feature coming up towards the end of the year, and, you know, countless music videos and commercials in between then. So yeah, I'd highly recommend it. Those are the pros and cons. You can kind of like take that and make your decision from there. Right on, so that was my thoughts on the pros and cons of owning a Red. If you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comment section. And you know, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification for future videos coming out. And yeah, if you have any questions, anything like that, you know, definitely let me know, or even if you have a suggestion for my next video. I'll be doing one a week, so yeah, look out for the next one. Take care, guys.